Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Not Your Average Life Coach. I'm gonna go ahead and answer a question that I had on Facebook. It was a request to make a video on how to take risks in order to get where you want to be in life. I like this question because I truly believe that most things that are going to bring you any bit of fulfillment, most achievements that are gonna feel worthy once they're said and done, are going to involve some sort of risk. Now, it might be risk of embarrassment, it might be risk of injury, financial loss, emotional pain. There's some sort of negative consequence that can occur from you attempting to do what you want to do and failing. I'm gonna start off by saying that I can't necessarily teach everybody how to take risks in order to do what they want to do, because everybody's going to be different. The way I handle and approach my risks is probably going to be different than the way you handle and approach yours. But I want to share my line of thinking, the mindset that goes on within myself in order to allow me to take these risks and ultimately do what I want to do in life. So when I was in the Marines, I learned a very valuable concept, which was called ORM, Operational Risk Management. Essentially what you do in the Marines when you're planning a mission or making any sort of decisions is you analyze the risk to reward, meaning what am I looking to achieve? What's the mission I'm looking to achieve right now? What's the reward? What am I going to get for achieving? How valuable is that task or that mission? And what are the risks associated with it? You basically want to weigh the risk to reward and ensure that your reward is outweighing your risk. Meaning, yes, there are some risks to this. They're fairly low risks, and the value or fulfillment I will gain from this is going to be very high. That right there should tell you that it's something worth trying. Now, if you look at the opposite end of it and say that the value of what you're going to be achieving is not very significant and the risk is very high and the consequences are very bad, then that may be a risk you don't want to take, because you're doing something that's high risk associated with something that is very little reward. You have a good chance of failing, and even if you don't fail and you do overcome it, what you're gaining from it's not going to be that great. So what I always say is, whatever it is you're trying to achieve or get to, progress in, weigh out how important the value of that success is. If it's something very, very, very important to you, then there's a good chance that you should be taking greater risks to get to it. If it's something that's just a spontaneous idea or something that's kind of been sitting in the back of your head for a little while and the risk is very grand, maybe you should reassess and not go for that goal. Look into doing something else, focus your efforts somewhere else. But that's operational risk management. It's just risk to reward assessment, and you can do it with anything. Look at what you're trying to get. What are the consequences, or what are the risks and the consequences that it presents? Is it fucking worth it? If it is, go for it. Now, when I do look at the risks and I say, okay, this might be something that is going to hurt me physically, or this may be something that is, going to make me wish I didn't do it. I failed. The risk is here, and now I'm suffering the consequences. I'll take those and I'll look at, okay, what is it that I'm trying to achieve? How challenging is that? Have I ever done anything in my life that is similar to that in difficulty level, similar to it in actual process of doing something? Have I done things just as hard, if not harder? And typically, I'll look at the things that I'm trying to achieve in life. I'll look at whether it's a plan I want to execute, or a career route, or you name it, anything I've done in my life. And I'll justify it to myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm capable. I am a capable human being. I've done many things in my life. What makes me think that this is so challenging that I'm gonna pay these severe consequences? And what I've come to discover is usually it's just the change. You have to change something, or what you're gonna do is going to bring change, and that scares the ever-living shit out of us. So I believe that a lot of times we're taking these things and we're placing a risk on them, but the risk is really more so just a false perception that we're creating within our own selves as to how challenging something is or how out of reach something is, when in reality is we're probably fully capable of doing it. So I really try to view things as realistic in the sense of, yeah, there is a chance of failure and there is a consequence associated with that, but how challenging really is that? Like, looking back on the things I've accomplished in life, I'm not trying to be boastful or brag about it, but I'm proud of the things that I've done, and I know I've done some challenging things in my life. I know I've overcome adversity and obstacle. Why do I look at this and fear it so much? Why do I think I'm not going to accomplish that, and once I don't accomplish it, that the worst case scenario is going to happen? It's a line of thinking, it's a mindset, much more capable than you really are in things. Now, also, think back to when you were a kid, or, you know, any time into the past where you might have failed at something and there was a risk associated with it. Say it was physical pain, mental, emotional. Now ask yourself, how much is that failure that I had with that one task or that one goal that I had set out to achieve, how much is that failure really weighing on me right now? Am I today actively regretting that failure? Am I still feeling the physical or emotional pain that happened when I set out to do something and I didn't quite hit my target? I had a little bit of repercussion. Am I still affected by that today? And I'm gonna say there's a good chance you're not. So basically what I wanna say is, this is what works for me. I weigh out the risk to reward. If it's something that I really wanna go after, if it's something that I'm insanely passionate about, the risk is almost irrelevant to me at that point. But if it's something that I'm like, okay, you know, I do want this, it's not something that's like a burning desire within me, but I really do want this, I'll weigh out the risks. Do they outweigh the reward? Because if they do, then I may not do it. Then I also really try to analyze what it is I'm trying to do. Not overanalyze it, don't think about it too much, but just think about the steps that are gonna be required to get me to my goal. Are they really that out of reach? Am I incapable of doing those? There's a good chance that you're gonna be like, you know what, that once you put it on paper, it really doesn't seem that hard. And then think back to any time you have failed in the past. Anytime you've taken a risk and it's bit you in the ass. How bad was it? Is it still affecting you now? There's a good chance once you think of those three things, you're gonna realize that these fears of risks that we're associating with goals that we want to achieve or life paths that we want to take really aren't all that relevant. It's a way of thinking. We justify why we should not do things because of a fake repercussion that we made up in our head. We're thinking worst case scenario with everything. Stop thinking worst case scenario. If you fail at something, you may look at it as you're gonna be the embarrassment of the world. Nobody's gonna notice it. You're thinking worst case scenario. There's not a good chance that worst case scenario is going to happen. Okay, start believing yourselves. If you want something, go after it. There is going to be a risk to just about everything that you do in life. Now it just comes down to your priorities. How badly do you want that? If you want it, fucking go after it. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it, or you're gonna learn a lesson, and that lesson is not gonna haunt you for the rest of your life. If anything, it's gonna help you going forward. Hopefully this helps, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please click the subscribe button at the bottom of the page right now. Again, I love the recommendations. If you have anything you want me to talk about, please send them my way. I'd be more than happy to make a video. Until then, see you next time, guys.